Uh, okay, Shilpa, you can start.
Okay. I'm audible, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So today we'll be talking about a topic that is incredibly crucial for the well-being of our children's emotional health. So we really have to talk about it because sometimes this usually gets overshadowed by the academic achievement or physical health. But we have to understand that this is just as important as our child's physical health, and is also essential for our children's growth and development. So before getting to a session, I would love you to all have a interaction on this question. Have you ever had a conversation with your child about their emotions and mental health?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. And how did it go?
Can I speak in Malayalam?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Because Malayalam is more comfortable for me.
Okay.
സംസാരിക്കാറുണ്ട്.
Mm,
പിന്നെ അതുപോലെ തന്നെ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് അവർക്ക് നമ്മളോടെല്ലാം ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാനും
mm,
കൂടുതലും ഒറ്റക്കായിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ അവർ മാത്രമുള്ള സമയത്താണ് അവരുടെ ഫീലിങ്സിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടൊക്കെ സംസാരിക്കാറ്. പിന്നെ അതുപോലെ തന്നെ
mm,
നമ്മളെ അടുത്തുനിന്ന് അവർക്ക് ഫുൾഫിൽ ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കേണ്ട കുറച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ. അതിൽ
mm.
ചിലപ്പോൾ കുറവുകൾ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ആ സമയത്ത് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഫീൽ ചെയ്തത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ
Yeah.
എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മളത് ചെയ്യാതിരുന്നത്, അപ്പോഴേ
Mm,
നമുക്ക് പറ്റിയ തെറ്റ് എന്താണെന്നുള്ളതും,
mm,
അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിനൊരു കാരണം ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ, റീസൺ ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ അവരത് ഒരുപാട് വർഷം അത് അവരെ മനസ്സിൽ വെച്ച് നടക്കും. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ
mm.
അവരെ പാരന്റിങ് ടൈമിലും അതൊരു അവർക്കൊരു വേദനയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതൊരു പ്രശ്നമോ ആവരുത് എന്ന് കരുതിയിട്ട് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാറുണ്ട്. ഷെയർ
Okay.
ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അവരും റിലാക്സ്ഡ് ആവും, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മളും നല്ല റിലാക്സ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടാണ് എനിക്ക് ഫീൽ ചെയ്യാറ്. താങ്ക് യു.
Okay. Okay. Where are like anybody else would love to share your experience? Because I'm pretty sure every parent here will have a different story or experience to share. And it would be really great if you can share it very quick since we have a limited time ahead. So anybody would love to share anything anymore? So in the comment box, okay, let's Bloom, no, Dr. Naima, no, Mihani, yes, Indu, no. Surprisingly, she had a lot to say. Okay. So shall I move if nobody else is ready to share their experience? Okay. So unlike so here we'll be seeing about difference between the mental health and emotional health because these two terms often get confused. So unlike physical health issues that often are much time most of the time it is observable symptoms like a fever or cough or rash, but when it comes to emotional and mental health issues in children, this can be a little bit trickier to spot. Voice is not audible. uh, am I audible now? Is it clear?
Yes, Shilpa, you're audible.
Okay. Hafsa, could you just turn on, increase your volume or something? Maybe it's something with your phone issues. Yes, audible. Okay. So, as I was talking, when it comes to emotional and mental health issues in children, this can be a little bit trickier to spot. So, these challenges can manifest through subtle changes. So, we have to observe it through their behaviors, their mood, or social interactions. So, consider a child who is facing emotional issues. They might become very withdrawn or show anxious behavior, or might have sudden outbursts of anger. Or they might also experience alterations in their sleep patterns or appetite. And for us as parents, it is important to understand these changes, these patterns, and to engage them in with them in open communication. Because with a strong foundation in mental health, this enables them to approach their studies with a clarity and make wise choices, such as selecting an extracurricular activities, something which is aligned with their interests and goals, or when they have some important decisions to make. And emotionally resilient children, they can take it wisely, and or they can seek support from the trusted adult and make decisions that prioritize their long-term well-being. Am I clear with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So now we'll see what is emotional health in children because most of the time this topic is not being addressed much. So let's begin by understanding what emotional health in children truly means. So basically, this is just an ability to recognize or to understand and to manage their emotions effectively. This is about fostering the resilience or empathy, self esteem, everything like an umbrella term, everything that helps a child to build a healthy relationship and an overall well-being. So the first thing we have to understand is that emotional health is not a separate entity from a physical health. These both are connected together, forming the foundation for the child's overall well-being. So it doesn't mean that your child have to be happy all the time. It's about understanding and managing a wide range of emotions, from joy to excitement, sadness to anger. And when we help our children to build a strong emotional foundations, we are actually equipping them with essential life skills that will serve them well throughout their life. So, for example, just consider emotional health as a compass, okay, that guides a child through the life's journey. So what does a compass does? It helps to navigate, right? So like that, emotional health helps a children to navigate their ups and downs, to make informed decisions and to form meaningful connections with others. Because without a strong emotional foundation, children might struggle to express themselves, understand the emotions of others also. If they are not able to express themselves and understand themselves, they'll not be able to understand others, and also to cope up with the challenges that life has. Obviously, life comes with a lot of challenges, right? Okay, so this seems like a one side session. So, but rather than being a theory session, like why can't we all have an interaction? You all are welcome to share your opinions, experiences, because this actually happens a lot in our daily life, right? Most of the time, we don't give much importance to this. You'll do watching L. Yes, okay. So, are you all common with these sentences? I'm pretty sure yes. Are you all able to read this?
Yes,
Of
we can
course.
read it.
Yes, okay. And I'm pretty sure most of the parents use these sentences.
Of course.
Yes. Okay. So here, yes, you all see there are few sentences, and so now what we have to do is you can revisit all those real life situations where the emotional health often goes unnoticed or dismissed, right? Most of the time, we just consider this as just a phase misconception. Like for example, uh, imagine a child who has mood swings or who has issues with that, and we are not addressing to it. This can actually cause a lot of negative consequences as he grows up. Or we may think that a child's mood swings or changes in the behavior are just a part of growing up, right? Usually most of the time, uh, a sudden outburst in the child, and we call it as overreaction, or he's in just that age, or you will get over it, rather than addressing what is a real cause behind that or root behind that. And these could be actually signs of deeper emotional turmoil the child is facing. And by dismissing these signs, we miss valuable opportunities to provide the support and guidance our children need. So, since these has become part of our daily life, and in order to come out of this, as a part of this webinar, also we have a worksheet for you, parents. So, Shruti will be posting a Google Form link by the end of the session, and whoever wants the worksheets can fill the form to get the worksheets so you can practice it. I do these often. Okay, Nora. Honey tantrums. Okay. Okay. So now, why do we need to address it? Can someone let me know why do we actually have to address the concept of emotional health in children? Now we have already covered a little bit of topic in brief, so I'm pretty sure you will all have the answers. Can I get
Like
quick
you
advice?
previously mentioned, right? You said it's the compass that helps us navigate life's challenges. And so, as parents, we have to coach our children how to handle their emotions. How, because some of these feelings, even us as adults, we are not able to handle. So, even
Yeah.
more than us, children need methods or, support to like feel their feelings, and for us to accept it and to guide them how to overcome, to move through life, because you can't stop these feelings, but you can always help them, like you said, navigate these feelings and all of that. So I think that's one of the reasons why emotional health in children is important.
Very informative answer, Nadia. It has a lot of sessions inside that. Okay, so Mihani, they'll grow with it otherwise. Okay, yes. Niara, to understand what they're feeling. Yes, yes. Okay. So Basically, we need to address the children's emotional health because it forms a very foundation of their well-being. As I told in the beginning, this is physical health and emotional health. This is not two separate things. These both have to go together for a child to become successful or to have a healthy well-being. So just as we nurture their physical health and intellectual growth, we must also pay equal attention to their emotional development. And most of the time, I feel like boys are the victims to that because we don't let boys to cry. We are already under a taboo that boys are not supposed to show their feelings. So failures to do so can actually lead to detrimental consequences. For example, imagine a 4-year-old, okay, your child who is routinely being ignored when they express their fear of dark or worries about starting school, okay, the first day of school. And if these emotions are left unaddressed, what happens? The child may develop anxiety and insecurity, right? And this could persist into their adolescent and adult years. And at that times, what we does? And we'll be like, what we usually parents says, you're such a grown-up child and are you still afraid of dark? Are you still scared of dark? And this is what our response will be to when they are growing older. So consider another scenario, okay? A child who is constantly scolded for crying or expressing sadness. What is the output he's getting, or what is he learning from that? He's not being attended when he's crying. What do you think? What is he learning from that?
That it's not okay to ask for things or show his feelings.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, this is what happens. So the child is actually learning that it's not okay to show my emotions or express my sadness. Or what he learns, instead of expressing, he learns to suppress his emotions. And what happens? Ultimately, this will start affecting his ability to connect with others and manage stress as they grow older. So, by acknowledging and supporting a child's emotional health, we can help them build resilience, self esteem, healthy coping mechanisms, which actually ensure a brighter and emotionally balanced future. So, this is a very brief about why we have to address, okay? And now we'll see what happens if it goes unaddressed. So, here on the screen, as you can see, there are a lot of issues. So, we'll see to it one by one. So, the first thing is that there will be quick and long term consequences if you don't address your children's emotional health, because in doing so we actually risk by compromising their overall development. This is not a temporary process. You have to start it from very young, and in the longer run they'll have to achieve that success. So unaddressed emotional issues can actually manifest in various ways. Some of the immediate consequences will be mental health struggles. So when a child's emotions are disregarded or ignored, they develop anxiety for sure, right? And or other mental issues also. So for example, consider a child who is being repeatedly ignored when they are expressing their fears or worries. What happens? He becomes anxious, right? And may struggle to manage their emotions. As Nadia said, we adults are having issues when managing the emotions. So imagine what about a child? He'll not be able to this emotion, and he also will not be able to understand what step to take. Okay. The second one is behavioral problems. So again, emotional neglect can manifest in problematic behaviors. A child who doesn't learn how to cope with their feelings appropriately may act out or exhibit aggression or become even withdrawn. For example, if I'm considering, you can take a child, okay? Imagine a child who feels consistently unheard at home. Whatever he says or whatever he comes with a problem, whenever he comes with a problem, most of the time parents doesn't listen to him or is just ignoring, telling him that this is just a phase, you'll get over it quick. What happens? He might become very rebellious or maybe excessively introverted. He'll stop sharing it to any, like, with parents or friends or anyone. So these both can happen. And relationships, like, it can also affect the relationships also. So emotionally neglected children may have trouble forming healthy relationships. How can they form healthy relationship when they have not understand how to form it? So they may struggle to communicate effectively, trust others, and to build meaningful connection as they have not learned these skills from an early age. All these things have to be taught to a child And we cannot expect not to teach all these things, and the adult stage they are supposed to be perfect in all these areas, right? So now we discuss the immediate consequences. Now we'll see what are the long term consequences. Low self esteem. So children who do not receive emotional support may grow with low self esteem. So this actually can impact their confidence and their ability to set and achieve goals in their adulthood. Like a child who is never praised for anything, okay, or encouraged, might become an adult who doubt their abilities and lack self-worth, right? We need motivation, we need encouragement, we need supporting people around us to grow. The second one will be emotional suppression, as I told in the earlier slides. When children's emotions are consistently ignored, it's not just with children also. Imagine you telling your emotions or your feelings to your spouse, and he doesn't listen to that, or he just ignore it. At some point, you will stop sharing it with him, right? This happens with children also. They learn to suppress their emotions because they are being invalidated. They may learn to suppress their feelings, and which can lead to emotional detachment from you and people around him. And this can cause an inability to express himself appropriately. So, in a longer run, this can actually affect their mental and physical health. The next one is chronic stress and health issues. So, as I told, physical health and mental health and emotional health, these all should go parallelly. These are not separate entities or separate sections to be divided. All this should go together for a person to be healthy well-being, altogether holistic well-being. So emotional neglect can contribute to chronic stress, which is actually linked to numerous health problems starting from heart diseases, obesity, substance abuse, because an emotionally neglected child may grow up to have these kind of issues, which is actually affecting their overall well-being. The last one of the long-term consequences is cycle of neglect. So sadly, this emotionally neglected child often becomes neglectful parents, right? And then the cycle changes to neglectful grandparents. So the cycle actually goes on. As you all know, like, if some might be knowing, depression is also like one reason for depression is also genetics. So what happens if you are bringing a child who is depressed? The genes are automatically passed down, right? It's again passed down. So you are actually bringing a cycle of neglect in an entire family. So, in order to avoid all these things, let's all raise our children to be emotionally healthy. So, now I think you all got a very brief idea on what emotional health in children means, right? Yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So, now can you share personal experiences where you have noticed impact of emotional health in your child life? Anyone? Maybe your child's of a sudden he started showing tantrums, or of a sudden he started to become very withdrawn. Any those kind of situations?
Yes, my son
Yes.
is short-tempered,
Mm.
and also he feels emotionally very sad suddenly.
Okay.
Both emotions are sudden.
Okay.
How
What
to
about
manage?
others?
Like one of my children,
Mm.
they have trouble with managing their frustration. So if they don't get something quickly, or if one of their sibling takes their stuff or something like that, um, they find it very difficult to manage their frustration, their anger. They don't know what to do. So sometimes they feel like destroying something or fighting with their sibling or just crying. So that is something I myself struggle with in managing her emotion for her. So, um, but yes, I have seen. So there, I do feel, there is more I can do to help her manage her frustration. So she has like
Okay.
low frustration tolerance.
Okay. Nora Mohammed, what about when cries for no reason suddenly started tantrums during sleep at night? Okay. So for who all answered here and all for others also, we'll be guiding you with steps that you can start implementing at your home to develop emotional regulation in your children also. Okay. So now we'll talk about common areas where misconceptions occur. So, what, like as I told in the earlier slides, a lot of the time misconceptions. Sumaya says, "My kid is 6 years. It started bedwetting due to an issue in school bus, and it's all when it is addressed." Yes, most of the time there will be a root cause to most of the behavior and emotions their children shows. Okay, so as I was talking, so now we'll see common areas where this misconceptions occur, which means like most of the time the child might be going through something, but as parents we may fail to understand that there is another hidden reason behind it. So the first and common things that we hear at Kring is academic stress. This is another critical issue, because in the pursuit of academic excellence, we parents actually push our children too hard without realizing the emotional toll it takes. So instead of seeing them as lazy or unmotivated, we should consider that they may be overwhelmed and anxious about their performance. So here, like working as a parent mentor, I used to hear the client say he used to study. He was a boy who studied well, but I feel that nowadays, just because of me pressurizing him more, he have lost the interest. This usually happens, right? Even if your child is above average, also you will start pushing your child. You can have to score more marks. You will start comparing with your neighbors. So this is actually creating a set of anxiety in the child, and this may create to academic stress also. But what we parents does is just label them as lazy or unmotivated, and that Indian household the usual line is there: becoming lazy as you grow old. Very common household line, right? But there will be a lot of other reasons behind all these things. The second one is sibling rivalry. I'm pretty sure every parents can relate it to it. So this is common in many households, but it can also be a battleground where emotional health issues surfaces. So when we witness constant arguments between siblings, it is essential to explore the underlying emotions and teach them constructive ways to manage conflicts. So most of the time what happens is that, like most of the time when siblings fight, parents have the role of becoming a referee, right? So there are certain steps we parents have to take in, so that none of the child feels like mother is favoring elder one or the younger one. So you should be in a stable state and you should handle it properly, or else what happens is the sibling rivalry again, like a form of cycle or a loophole, this again occur, and the child might have emotional health issues. Like the child might feel like mother is favoring another one, or mother is favoring my sibling and not me. So in the longer run this can actually cause grudges between the siblings, or not liking the sibling, trying to harm the sibling, all these things. So you have to, there are certain things as parents we have to keep in our mind also. The next one is withdrawn behavior, so which may be mistakenly attributed to shyness, but this can also be a sign of deeper emotional struggles. There are some children, if you observe, whenever they feel so sad, or whenever they're too gloomy, or they feel heavy hearted, they'll not talk to anyone. And usually parents used to say that my child doesn't express much, or whenever he feels so sad, he doesn't express, or he just keep quiet. So these are the signs of child facing emotional struggles inside him, such as, so it can be a social anxiety or some other reasons. So it is crucial to create a safe space for our children to open up about our feelings and their feelings. You have to, there should be a mutual understanding to share both the sides. Now the last one is excessive screen time. Pretty sure that every parent here can relate, because I think most of the time all the parent mentors in Crank is used to hearing this concern from parents, that is my child is having excessive screen time. Right? Am I right in this? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is most of the time what happens. We just consider this as a generational norm, right? Yeah, it is today's children. They are more addicted to screens, or they are more addicted to mobiles. We just left it over like an generational norm. But this can indeed be a sign that the child is using screen as a coping mechanism to escape from the emotional difficulty. Or maybe he's not finding anything interesting at home, or maybe he's feeling that there is no one to give him attention. So by acknowledging this behavior and seeking the root cause, we can better address your emotional needs. So as parents, you can keep in mind that I have only selected very few since this is very common. Okay. So now we'll see what we parents can do. So I'll let you know, I'll teach you 3 R's in emotional regulation so that you can actually easily handle your child's emotions without any struggles. So the first one is to regulate your emotions. So this is actually important to understand why regulation must be the first step towards calming a triggered and upset child. So here, firstly, you need to calm down and then focus your child. You don't have to rush when your child is upset. So provide a safe space for the child away from noises and be gentle and give him time to open up. Okay. So I think I'll better explain with examples for all the 3 steps. So the first thing is, so imagine that your child is coming home from school, upset and crying, and you notice this as soon as he or she walks through the door, and you recognize that he is upset and rushes over to greet him. However, without before bombarding him with a lot of questions, you have to take a deep breath to regulate your own emotions and ensure you are also calm and he also remains calm. And then you have to approach him with a comforting nature. So, this is what you have to do as a first step of regulating your emotions. Now, the second one is relate. So, relate is once the child has begun to calm down, you can try relating to the child. Speak in calm, short sentences, as lengthy sentences can quickly become overwhelming and re trigger the stress or the situation they already had. So you can validate their emotions with or feelings with words like, I know you are upset, right? Or you really wanted to stay this longer. I know this is pretty hard for you. All these kind of acknowledgement statements you can bring. So right now in this particular stage, you have to focus is on to connect with the child and giving the words to their big feelings. So as we'll as a continuation of the previous example. So now we are in the stage of relate their feelings. So here what you have to do is you gently put your arms around your child and says, or you can just call out his name or pet name, whatever, and then you can tell him that I see that you are upset. What happened at school today? You can talk to me. I'm here for you. Your tone should be very empathetic and should not be in a questioning way, and it should be very understanding, like allowing him to feel safe and heard. So you should then lead him to a quiet room or a comfortable spot where he loves, like basically away from distraction. So now we have already regulated the child, then related to his feelings, and now the last step is to reason. So once a child feels safe and connected, they can fully engage in learning and reflection, right? Because a calm child is more likely to have mental capacity to reason with you. Rather than a child who is upset or distressed, he'll not take anything to his head. So they here now they when the child is calm, they can actually use a higher thinking portion of their brain. So now this is the time for you to talk about the alternatives and help him come with solutions. So again, the same example. So now the child is already regulated and like you have already related to his feeling, and now he's in a calm state. So now you are moving to a reasoning stage. So you can say like, I know school can be tough sometimes, and it's okay to feel this way. There's nothing wrong. Let's talk about what happened so that we can figure out how to make things better and what's been bothering you. I can also help you. So now this either small sentences is a big relief for the child who is going through an upset situation. So now as he shares that he had an like imagine he is sharing like, I had an argument with my friend and it made me really sad. So what you have to do? You have to listen to that very attentively, and you have to offer supportive suggestions like maybe you can just reach out your friend and talk, and also you can also reassure him that you also can like you both will work together on resolving the issue. So is are these 3 R's of emotional regulation clear for you all?
Can you repeat the second one?
Okay, the relate one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in the second stage, what you have to do is you have to relate with your child's emotions. So most of the time, the feelings a child go through might seem silly to us, but for them it is a bigger issue. So what you have to do is you have to relate to your child. So you have to speak in very calm, short sentences, like, I know you are upset. You're just validating, okay, he's upset. Like what the child feel is, okay, my mother is able to understand I am upset and I need a little bit of time. So you have to relate. The basically it's just about relating the feeling of your child to you.
Thank you,
Is it
ma'am.
okay? So these are the three R's in emotional regulation. So now what you have to do is you can actually practice all this approach, and this actually can make the child feel supported and address the issue that caused him to cry. So this approach actually fosters a sense of safety and connection between the parent and child, making it very easier for the child to express their feelings and work through the challenges. Will he always wait to reach out to me as I may not be around always? So there are like if you are at work, you can have a call. Like once he come back from school, you can give a call. Or and it's a very good question actually. So before all these things, the first thing you have to start building is having a bond with your child. And for that, there are a lot of different steps. And if you want to have in a detailed way, you can actually fill a form with Kring so that we can give you a little bit of information on how to build the bond with your children. And for the emotional regulation, as I was telling, we do train parents for emotional regulation in kids as a 3-month training program. Okay, now coming to how to develop emotional regulation in kids, I'll give you a little bit more detailed steps so that you can start implementing it in your home. So the first step is to introduce kids about different sets of emotions and feelings. So this is by start talking about your emotions with your child when they're still a baby. Children always doesn't need proper words to understand you. They can get emotions or they can catch what you're communicating through your facial expressions. The second step is to manage emotions in a healthy way. That is to model effective emotional regulation. You should be a positive mother to help the child to manage his emotions in a healthy way. Imagine you are someone who with a lot of tantrums or anger issues. You cannot expect your child to be calm when he is angry or when he is going through a tough time. So in order for that, you have to model effective emotional regulation. The third one is to help your child recognize their emotions. So that is by labeling the emotions whenever they appear. Like, imagine your child is looking a little bit of disappointed, and he may not be knowing this particular emotion is disappointed. So, in order to introduce that to him, you can actually use these kind of labeling. Like, I know you are feeling disappointed because mama didn't give you the red cup, or you're feeling angry because father said no. These kind of sentences or reflective speech can actually help the child to understand different sets of emotions associated with different situations. Now the fourth step is to validate their feelings. So as I told earlier, don't use things like it's okay, there's nothing to be scared of, you are just being too dramatic. These are common sentences, but please don't use these kind of sentences to your children, because these kind of comments actually make the child feel like, okay, there is something wrong with me, or there is something wrong with my feelings. So what they'll do is they learn to not to trust their own feelings. They'll be always in a conflict, or they'll be always confused with their feelings. So they may not be anything to be like, they actually there'll not be anything to be scared of, but that doesn't make how they are feeling. So instead acknowledge their feeling. Like for example, you can say, yeah, a lot of kids feel nervous on the first day of school. I feel nervous too. This is normal. Like you are supposed to feel like this. So let them express how they feel without any judgment, and let them verbalize their emotions. So tell your child that what they are feeling is normal and that you understand this, and take the like let the child take his own time to express that emotion, and you also have to be patient to listen to that full. Most of the time we just rush with all our works and duties. And the fifth step is to allow them to express their feeling So do not say to kids that you are a child, you shouldn't be feeling like this, or children are not supposed to show this kind of tantrum. You're not supposed to cry. You're being a crybaby. So instead of all these sentences, or instead of all these dialogues, all you can do is to let them express their feelings. Because, as I told, emotional regulation is all about expressing and managing. So, through proper guidance, you can actually help your child to manage their emotions. Also, you cannot expect as I told, allow the children to express their feelings. We don't want our child to express their tantrum in a shopping mall, right? So that is where the process of emotional regulation comes. You need to train your child to express as well as to manage their feelings. Okay, now the sixth step is to teach them coping skills. So, as I told earlier, first you have to model them uh, on healthy emotional regulation strategies, and then you have to teach them the coping skills. For children, usually it can be like drawing, or playing outdoors, or hugging their favorite teddy, or hugging you as a parent. So, all these things can actually calm them down. So, I hope the steps are also clear. Okay. Now, recognizing the changing patterns of behavior in our children is a skill, right? And every parent should cultivate. So, for that purpose, I have shared you 3 R's, and how to implement, I have shared you with a list of steps. So, that is going to be pretty helpful for you if you have the proper guidance and training. So, for that, we have to actually first build a positive bonding with your kids, and then you have to move slowly forward. So, by actively listening, observing, and engaging in open communication, we can identify when something is amiss. So, what you have to remember is our children might not always have words to express their emotions. So, paying attention to their actions, their behaviors, and reactions are equally important. So, most of the time, understanding the interplay between this emotional and mental health is very important. So, keep in mind that emotional health basically provides a foundation for mental well being. Like when a child's emotional health is strong, they're better equipped to handle stress, right? Or develop resilience, or to maintain a positive outlook on whatever happens around them. But on the opposite side, what happens if a child, if it's a emotionally neglected child, he or she will have a lot of mental health issues like anxiety, depression in the longer run. It's as simple like a child who has a solid emotional foundation is like a sturdy ship, able to weather storms without turning it upside down. They'll have a clear vision on how to come up with solution on how to tackle a particular situations. But imagine a child whose mind is not clear, what happens? He'll always get into troubles, he'll always get into traps. So they have tools to manage stress, bounce back from setbacks, and maintain a healthy sense of self-worth. So, likewise, some common issues that can be seen in children, but most of the times left unaddressed or analyzed, are temper tantrums, then ADHD, attention issues, or separation anxiety. So, these are actually very common behavioral problems in preschool and school age children. But if you delve into it a little bit deeper, you'll come to know that there will be other emotional issues associated with this. And lastly, to parents, all I have to say is seeking professional help is not a sign of weakness, but this is actually a sign of responsible parenting. Because just as we would seek medical attention for a physical alignment, right? Parents usually rush to medical centers or hospitals when their child is having a very light fever. Same wise, you should also seek professional help or guidance for emotional and mental health concerns, because by understanding, identifying, and actively supporting our children's emotional and mental well being, we are actually helping our child to have a brighter and healthier future. So, I hope this was helpful, and together let's all hold a key to unlocking the secrets to our children's mental health, ensuring that they grow into happy, resilient, and well adjusted individuals. And also, as I told, Shruti will be sharing the Google Form link. So, whoever want the mood charts to uh, go along with this worksheets can fill this. Okay. Any questions?
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Can you explain the point introducing kids about different sets of emotions? Means means what?
Yeah, so you can imagine your child is still young. Okay, you can start by talking, sharing stories, or you will be baby talking with your child, right? So you can use facial expressions and emotions and a little bit of small words when your child, like, you can, and gradually increase the complexity of the emotions you teach. At the level one, you can teach about sadness, happiness. These are simple terms, right? But this happiness itself will have a lot of other emotions, and sadness also will have a lot of other sets of emotions like disappointed, worry, or depressed. So everything have a different intensity. So from a younger age, start talking about emotions. You can, the first thing you have to do is whenever you are feeling angry or whenever you are going through a particular emotion, communicate it with your child. Like for example, you are feeling a little bit down and your child comes to ask for something. You can say, uh, "Mama is not feeling good," or "Mama is feeling a little bit low today. Can we have the talk later, or can we talk about this later?" Which means a child knows, okay, like you are actually modeling to your child that you are expressing your emotions, which he'll also do it in turn. And once he grow a little bit older, change the emotions from happy, sad to another complex emotions like embarrassed or insulted, these kind of things, bullying. So, like that, start talking. It can be through stories, it can be through talking about daily situations. You can even use simple activities like once a child is back from schools and you are all sitting for your dinner, let him communicate what happened at this school. And whenever he says something striking, connect it with different emotions. Oh, so you felt happy when teacher said this, right? Or you got appreciated when teacher said you are a good boy, or you got something very common like this. So these kind of situations you can tackle like that.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, Fauza, how can we say him to express emotion? He feels short tempered and sensitive. Can I get the real name? Whose question was this? How can we say him to express his emotion? He feels short tempered and sensitive. Okay, so anyway, I'll answer to that. Fauzia. Okay, Fauzia. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is there are a lot of other steps to reduce the tantrum. So, first thing we need is to build a bond with your child, and then you have to come across behavior modifications in your child, and then it will be easy for you to control his temper and his sensitivity, and then you can it will be easy to implement these emotional regulation steps. And a quick example would be like you have to model, like, are you short tempered person, Fauzia?
Little short term.
Okay, so this can also be a reason, because maybe you will be showing that anger or tantrums in front of your child and he might be getting used to that. So he might feel that, okay, this is the way I should handle this particular situation. So the first thing, you can also regulate emotional regulation with yourself. Can model a healthy coping mechanism so that he also will learn that, he also will model that. And as I told, like, try building a little bit more bond with him so that you will have an influence over him, and then you can move to behavior modifications. And if you want more details of that, you can contact Shruti. She'll help you with that. What if the child says, "I won't tell you"? What should we say to that? Okay, so if your child says, "I won't tell you," okay, so first thing is, it all matters on how you ask the question. Don't be in a questioning tone asking your upset child, "What are you up to today?" Instead, give him time. All you do, like, you don't even have to question what is happening. All you can do is, whenever you feel comfortable, you can come talk to me. I'm always here for you. And as I already answered the previous question, it's not as easy if you have not built a proper bond with your child. Okay. Uh, what should we say to that? Give him time and make sure that you have already had a comfortable talk with him. Like give him a little bit space so that he'll be relaxed, he'll be calm, and then he can come talk to you. Any more questions? Can I get the Google form link, please? I think Shruti have shared it in the comment box.
Share it again.
Okay.
ശില്പാമ്മ, എനിക്കൊരു ഡൗട്ട് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നേ. എന്റെ
Sure,
കുട്ടിക്ക്
sure.
2 വയസ്സ് കഴിഞ്ഞു. പക്ഷെ അവനുണ്ടല്ലോ ഇപ്പൊ ബൈക്കിന്റെ സൗണ്ട് കേൾക്കുക, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പൊ കളിപ്പാട്ടം തന്നെ തുടക്കത്തില് 1 വയസ്സൊക്കെ ആവുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഇപ്പൊ ട്രെയിനിന്റെ ഒക്കെ സൗണ്ട് ഉള്ള കളിപ്പാട്ടങ്ങൾ കേൾക്കുമ്പോ അവന് പേടിയാണ്. ഇപ്പൊ ബൈക്കിന്റെ സൗണ്ട്, ബൈക്കൊക്കെ സ്പീഡിൽ പോകുമ്പോ ഒരു സൗണ്ട് കേൾക്കാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പുറത്ത് കാറ് മുന്നിൽ കൂടെ പോവാണ്, നമ്മൾ പുറത്ത് നിൽക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പേടി. അതൊക്കെ മാറ്റണമെങ്കിൽ എന്താ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുക?
ചെറുതായിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് വലിയ വലിയ ശബ്ദങ്ങൾ കേട്ട് ഞെട്ടുക, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ ഭക്ഷണം കഴിപ്പിക്കാനൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ വലിയ ശബ്ദമൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാക്കില്ല, വേഗം കഴിച്ചോ എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഉറങ്ങുന്ന സമയത്ത് വേഗം ഉറങ്ങാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ആ വലിയ ശബ്ദം കേൾക്കുന്നത് വേഗം ഉറങ്ങിക്കോ എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്നില്ലേ, അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ചെയ്യലുണ്ടായിരുന്നോ?
അങ്ങനെയൊന്നും പറയലില്ല. ഇല്ല, അങ്ങനെ അധികം ഷൗട്ട് ചെയ്യലുണ്ടായിരുന്നിട്ടില്ല.
ചെറിയ ഇങ്ങനെ ഇപ്പോ ഈ ഇത്ര വലിയ വലിയ ശബ്ദങ്ങളോടുള്ള പേടി യൂഷ്വലി മാറാനായിട്ട് നീതുവിന്റെ അടുത്ത് മോനെ നിർത്തുക. അതായത് ഫസ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റെപ്പായിട്ട് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് എന്താ വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവനെ ഒരു സേഫ് സ്പേസ് ആണ് മനസ്സിലാക്കുക. അപ്പൊ നീതുവിന്റെ കൂടെ ആകുമ്പോൾ എന്നാലും അവനറിയാം ഹീസ് ഇൻ എ സേഫ് സ്പേസ്. എന്നിട്ട് പിന്നെ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് ചെറിയ ചെറിയ സൗണ്ട്സ് ആയിട്ട് അവനെ ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കുക. അതായത് ഇത് ഇപ്പൊ ഇത്ര ശബ്ദമുള്ളത് കാണിച്ചു തരാട്ടോ, ചിലപ്പോൾ ആ പാത്രം വീഴുന്ന ശബ്ദം ഇങ്ങനെയാണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് സ്റ്റെപ്പ് ബൈ സ്റ്റെപ്പ് ആയിട്ട് ആ സൗണ്ടിന്റെ ഇന്റൻസിറ്റി ഒന്ന് കൂട്ടുക. പക്ഷെ അവൻ ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് നിർത്തിയിട്ടല്ല, ലൈക്ക് നീതും കൂടെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവനതൊരു കംഫർട്ട് സ്പേസ് ആയിരിക്കും. അപ്പൊ അവനൊരു സേഫ് ആയിട്ട് തോന്നും അത്.
ഓക്കെ.
ഇതിപ്പോ അത് മാത്രമല്ല സൗണ്ട് സെൻസിറ്റിവിറ്റി ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഒരു കാര്യമാണ് കേട്ടോ.
ഇത് പണ്ട് അവന് മിക്സി കുറച്ച് പേടിയുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ ഞങ്ങൾ പിന്നെ ഇടയ്ക്കിടയ്ക്ക് മിക്സി നമ്മൾ അടുക്കളയിൽ എപ്പോഴും ഉപയോഗിക്കണതല്ലേ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് നമ്മളൊപ്പം കൊണ്ടുപോയി ഇങ്ങനെ ചിക്കുമ്പോ, അപ്പൊ ഇപ്പൊ മിക്സി കറക്കണം കേട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എല്ലായിടത്തുനിന്നും ഓടി വന്ന് അത് കേൾക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി വന്ന് നിൽക്കുമായിരുന്നു.
സൗണ്ട് സെൻസിറ്റിവിറ്റിയും കാര്യങ്ങളും ഒന്ന് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നത് നല്ലതായിരിക്കും നീതു, കാരണം അത് ഇത്തിരി ഒരു ഇമ്പോർട്ടന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഭാഗമാണല്ലോ. എന്തെങ്കിലും ഹെൽപ്പ് വേണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ക്രിങ്കിനെ ഒന്ന് കോൺടാക്ട് ചെയ്താൽ മതി, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ശ്രുതിനെ ഒന്ന് പേഴ്സണലി മെസ്സേജ് അയച്ചാലും മതി. ശ്രുതി അതൊന്ന് ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് തരും കേട്ടോ.
താങ്ക് യു.
Okay. When the child is showing emotional tantrums around people, how to control the child? As I already told, like most of the questions here requires the same answers, I guess. So, like, let me just finish reading whole question so that I can answer it together. My son is showing extreme anger. How to cope up with his emotion? Basically, he doesn't have patience. How can we handle a child's emotional state when parents fight or argue, which most of the time is inevitable? Okay. So, to all these questions, the first thing I have to tell is start building an influence over your child. Start spending quality time with your child. Let him feel that you're not an opposite person. You are someone who goes around with him, and then we can work on their behavior modifications, and then we'll come to emotional regulations. So this is not like, as I told, emotional regulation is not just a different topic so that you can only implement these particular things. Before that, and in order to get your child to focus on all these things, you have to have that influence around them. And most of the questions are around anger tantrums of the child. And this actually needs behavior modifications. You have to the basic thing you can do is to acknowledge a lot or appreciate a lot what, like, in the little small things the children are doing at home, and you can spend quality time, and then you can come to these steps. Shweta, he's not adopting to new situation. He feels so fear of new situations. So first thing, Shweta, you can do is to acknowledge him, validate his feelings that it's okay. Most of the people feel a little bit worried or tense whenever moving to a new situation, and then make him like, you can use the 3 R's as I mentioned. Like, you can regulate with his emotion, and then you can relate to that and reason, and once a child is calmed down, then discuss about what he can do or what all the coping mechanism he can implement in these particular situations. Niara, thank you so much. Shilpa Krink always chooses great topic. Thank you so much. Sometimes you don't understand how to solve issues. Very useful and informative session. Thank you so much, Niara. Natija, my son is 12-year-old. He is still afraid of darkness. That is something we have to work step by step. So we can help you if you can have a personal message with us. Then Rima, can toddlers express their main incident which might have happened some time ago, which created anxiety in him or her, like a toddler showing signs of being emotionally down? Okay, so Rima, toddlers can actually express, but not in the full, like a full sentences. It all depends on how you prompt them to give the answers. As I told, the first thing you have to do is never ask or never like get into a child when he's upset or when he's angry. Only a calm child can give you with responses, solutions, or open up to you. So make sure your child is calm, and the major thing is how you prompt it to. And like emotionally down since sometimes out whether. Any more questions? And I appreciate my daughter most of the time. She's not very much. So I would like to know how you appreciate your child. Most of the time, we parents appreciate like you are a good girl or you are a good boy rather than working on the efforts. So, next time onwards, when you appreciate, focus on their efforts rather than focusing on their overall personality or behavior. So, just focus on the work or effort they are doing. So, you gradually she'll get used to that and she'll accept that.
Hi, may I know, is this a recorded session? Can I get the recordings later on to watch this again?
It's a recorded session. You can get the access from Shruti. You can message her personally. She'll be taking care of that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Shruti have posted the contact number in the comment box. Whoever needs that, you can message to her. So shall we wind up? Okay. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining. And I hope the session was informative. And if you need any help or guidance, please feel free to contact us. We are ready to help you and we are more than happy to see results in you. So, if you need step by step guidance in any of these things or any of the other related issues with children, please contact them. You can contact in the number posted in the comment box. So, thank you, everyone.